Once upon a time, in a small European kingdom nestled among rolling hills and ancient forests, there lived a prince named Adrian. From the outside, his life seemed perfect, a gilded cage of luxury and privilege. But behind the palace walls, Adrian felt suffocated by the weight of his royal duties and the constant scrutiny that came with his title. Every day was the same, a parade of bowing courtiers, flattering nobles, and people trying to use him for their own gain. Adrian longed for something real, something genuine. He dreamed of experiencing life as an ordinary person, even if just for a moment. One night, as the moon hung low in the sky, Adrian made a daring decision. He traded his princely attire for plain clothes, snuck out of the palace, and disappeared into the bustling city beyond. For one glorious week, he would be just Adam, a regular guy looking for work and a taste of normalcy. His search led him to a lively café in the heart of the city. The owner, a gruff but kind-hearted man, took one look at Adrian's soft hands and raised an eyebrow. "Ever washed dishes before, son?" he asked. Adrian shook his head, but his eyes were determined. "I'm a quick learner," he insisted. And just like that, Prince Adrian became Adam the dishwasher. The kitchen was a far cry from the palace. It was hot, noisy, and chaotic. Plates clattered, chefs shouted orders, and the air was thick with the smell of coffee and grilled sandwiches. For Adrian, it was exhilarating. Here, nobody cared about his title or his lineage. He was just another pair of hands, elbow deep in soapy water. That's when he first saw her. Clara, a waitress with fiery red hair and a sharp tongue, whirled through the cafe like a force of nature. She balanced trays with effortless grace, remembered every customer's order, and still found time to tease the new dishwasher about his less-than-stellar plate-stacking skills. At first, Clara saw Adam as just another broke guy looking for a paycheck. She'd seen plenty come and go, but something about this one was different. He listened when she spoke. Really listened, in a way that made her feel truly seen. And despite his initial clumsiness, there was an underlying grace to his movements, as if he was used to carrying himself with poise. As the days passed, Adam and Clara fell into an easy rhythm. They shared late-night walks after their shifts, the city streets quiet and bathed in the warm glow of streetlights. Clara taught Adam the art of making the perfect cappuccino, laughing at his first attempts that looked more like modern art than latte foam. In return, Adam surprised her by teaching an old folk dance he claimed was from his hometown. Their conversations ranged from Clara's dreams of becoming a writer to heated debates about classic literature. Adam found himself captivated by her quick wit and the passion that burned in her eyes when she spoke about her goals. For Clara, Adam was unlike anyone she'd ever met. Kind, intelligent, and genuinely interested in her thoughts and feelings. What Clara did not know was that behind Adam's easygoing smile lay a secret that threatened to shatter everything. She had no idea that the man she was slowly falling for was actually royalty, heir to the very kingdom she called home. As their connection deepened, Adrian found himself torn. Every moment with Clara felt more real than anything he'd experienced in the palace. Her laughter, her dreams, the way her hand accidentally brushed against his as they walked. It was all so beautifully, achingly human. For the first time in his life, someone saw him for who he truly was, not the crown he wore. But fate has a way of unraveling even the best-laid plans. One evening, as Adrian snuck back into the palace grounds, a sharp-eyed paparazzi caught a glimpse of the disguised prince. By morning, the headlines were splashed across every newspaper and gossip site. Prince Adrian missing, found working in café. Clara's world came crashing down as she saw Adam's true identity revealed on the morning news. The man she had grown to care for, maybe even love, had been living a lie. Anger and betrayal coursed through her veins. Was this all just some game to him? A way for a bored royal to play at being common? When Adrian tried to explain, his words fell on deaf ears. "For the first time in my life you saw me, not the crown," he pleaded. But Clara's heart was too raw, too wounded to listen. She turned away, leaving Adrian standing alone in the café, surrounded by the wreckage of his brief taste of freedom. Weeks passed. The kingdom buzzed with gossip about the prince's adventure, but Adrian found no joy in it. The palace felt colder than ever, the weight of his duties crushing him. He couldn't stop thinking about Clara, her smile, her dreams, the way she made him feel alive. Then, on a crisp autumn morning, Clara received a mysterious invitation to the palace. Curiosity overcame her lingering anger, and she found herself walking through the grand gates she'd only ever seen from afar. Her heart raced as she was led through marble hallways and past priceless artworks. Finally, she entered a grand ballroom filled with hundreds of people. Cameras flashed, and at the center of it all stood Adrian, looking every inch the prince she now knew him to be. Clara's breath caught in her throat as their eyes met across the crowded room. Adrian stepped forward, silencing the murmurs with a raised hand. This was the moment everyone had been waiting for, the announcement of his engagement as tradition dictated. But instead, Adrian's voice rang out clear and strong. "I choose her, the woman who taught me how to live like a real human being. I fell in love not as a prince, but as a man." The room erupted in gasps and whispers. Clara stood frozen, tears welling in her eyes as the full weight of his words sank in. Against all reason, against the voice in her head telling her this was madness, Clara found herself running towards him. Adrian caught her in his arms, holding her close as if he'd never let go again. The kingdom was divided in the days that followed. Half were outraged at the idea of a common waitress becoming their future queen. The other half swooned at the real-life fairy tale unfolding before their eyes. But slowly, steadily, Clara began to win them over. She didn't transform into a princess overnight. Instead, Clara insisted on finishing her job at the café until her mother's hospital bills were paid in full. She used her new platform to advocate for healthcare reform and education initiatives. The people saw in her a strength and humility that complemented Adrian's royal bearing perfectly. As the seasons changed, so did the kingdom. Clara and Adrian walked the palace gardens hand in hand, their love a testament to the power of seeing beyond titles and status. They faced challenges, of course. The adjustment to royal life wasn't easy, and there were always those who disapproved. But together, they were unbreakable. Their story became legend, whispered by young lovers and old romantics alike. It was a reminder that true love knows no boundaries, that the greatest adventures often begin with a single brave step into the unknown. And as Clara and Adrian stood on the palace balcony, waving to the cheering crowds below, their eyes met in a silent promise. No matter what came next, they would face it together, not as prince and waitress, but as two people who had found home in each other's hearts. In the end, their tale proved that sometimes the greatest royalty is found in the simplest love. And in a world often divided by class and status, Adrian and Clara's story shone as a beacon of hope, a reminder that when two hearts truly connect, anything is possible.